This segment is going to talk to us more about profiting and growing from the new age technology enablers and innovative technology deployment. How can we as retailers and techno leaders keep ahead of the times and be one step ahead of the consumer expectations? To the panel, I'd like to invite C. Gopalakrishnan, founder and stores, Mr. Rohit Ketan, head marketing and strategy, Genesis, Mr. Shishu Kumar, head buying and merchandising, bigbasket.com. And to curate this segment, I'd like to invite Mr. Bino George, head of business consultant in for Indian subcontinent.
My name is Bino George, and I look forward to present to you and moderate with my colleagues the esteemed panel here for the next 1 hour. We're looking at the theme, Technology, the Game Changer. What does the retail ecosystem look like today? We're looking at locations, all types of kinds of location-based data. You're looking at ads, the revenues that you get from ads. You're looking at service providers that are giving you kind of infrastructure service, media content, various devices that you challenge yourself with, merchant and consumer data. At the bottom you find wallets, point of sale data, social networking, complaints, appreciations of your product, retail content, and the retail brands. All of this, you like it, you don't like it, is being driven by you or by your competition into applications where the consumer sees, buys, feels, asks you questions. Quickly looking at the technology piece of this, what do we see? We see often used word, smart retail ecosystem. We see smart displays, in-store services, smart shelves, home delivery, brand optimization, supply chain optimization, logistics automation, all of this. So there are many pieces to this puzzle, just to set the context, and there is pervasive technology which helps in or attempts to solve this puzzle for you from a retail perspective. So this hour we will look at technology and how technology helps. This is the classic way that we have seen retail happen in the past many, many years. And this is how you see it now. You see marketplaces, you see retailers, brand owners coming in. The other day, just the beginning of this month, you had Tata's announcing that they are aggregating all of what they're doing into an e-commerce team. Beginning of this year, you had Mahindra's say the same thing. So the brick and mortar players are cognizant of this and want to be part of this business too. Because if they are not, then they're going to be adrift from what the whole market is doing. So there is this brick and mortar people or the classic retailers who are coming into this space, and there is quite a bit of Flipkarts that are going back into the brick and mortar space. So e-commerce retailing, transporters, social media distributors, new players, consumers, there are marketplaces. I was just doing this reading on Alibaba.com. They have two brands of portals. One is the Tmall, which is very established and formalized, and there is Taobao, which does the small play. So there is this differentiation coming in very mature markets like China. I don't see a reason why India won't have a form of it. So this is the kind of challenge we see for technology to handle. We are looking at aisles where we get a lot of data as the user goes through, replenishment of aisles, the range of products, the formats, the assortments, the categories, all of it make it very challenging to let technology enable something. You cannot manually do it anymore. There are situations where you're having electronic images being projected onto apparel stores where you can check what are the range available for the product. You make a choice there, and maybe delivery is done for you. On the top right, you find drones being used by some of the big players globally to do delivery. I don't say it's going to come to India fast, but these are things that we need to be cognizant of. Big data. There's a whole bunch of data. Which customer is coming to your site, how many hours he or she spends. Thank you. how many hours he or she spends on a certain web image or on a page, what is he or she doing as in buying or asking questions. All of the data is available. Which consumer walks into your store, which place. Because, one thing that in one of the conferences that have been like this, something that came out very strongly was most of us try out things in the brick and mortar stores and then buy it offline because it's cheaper online. So, it's becoming very expensive trial rooms, the brick and mortar stores, in apparel at least. Then we have something called the beacons. You walk into a store and based on you as a consumer, they are able to give you a customized discount, a customized offer. So that's a technology that's catching up very much in the West, just matter of time before it comes into India too. Then we have heard the cliches from warehouse to wardrobe, from farm to fork, and all of those that come in. So there's quite a lot of effort that's going for technology to go and fulfill this requirement that's been set up as an expectation. So, just for this 1 hour that we are going to have a finite time, what are the key pieces of the retail puzzle? There is this web interfaces, payment gateways, or forms of making payment, convergence, omni-channel, your brick and mortar, you're also online. How do you ensure you have inventory for both? Do you separately keep it? Do you keep them combined? There is some products that are flying off the shelf on the east of the country, but in the west they aren't. You may have planned something else. Big data, very much spoken about. Analytics, when you are about to take a decision, what data do you have in your hand? Applications, there are consumer-facing applications, there are retail-specific applications. So something like a supply chain execution application will help you ensure visibility where your inventory lies and how they move, while a consumer-based application will actually help you to track the loyalty and all the other stuff that you want to focus on the consumer, consumption patterns from the consumer. And of course, the ubiquitous mobile for payments, for getting orders, for a lot of data that you can provide at the mobile device level. So keeping this in mind, one thing is for sure that software will not replace all of offline retail, but instead it's going to transform certain retail experiences. Reid Hoffman, internet entrepreneur, made this statement, and I think it's very relevant to the retail space. A quick look at what Infor gives. It gives you an omni-channel space. There is a clear difference between shopping and buying, which it respects. So there's this whole handoff of interest to research, to shop, share, buy, pick up, and rebuy. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff that backs it up, which we'll look at as we go forward. Just want to now go back to the panel. We will spend most of our time, now that we've set the stage, we'll spend most of the time sharing our experiences with our esteemed panelists. They will share their experiences, and then we will look into what they have to say about technology and how it's panning out. So I'll just take a seat there, maybe that helps. Mics, right? Okay. So we have Rohit from Genesis. We have Sheshu from Big Basket, heading the procurement and the merchandising, and Mr. Gopal Krishnan, founder of the End Store. So, esteemed panelists, we have, I would like to put the first question out to Mr. Sheshu. How do you use big data, or how do you use data? Forget the word big data, it's a cliche now. How do you use data within Big Basket?
Actually, before I can tell as to how I use or how our organization uses data, I want to ask audience a few questions. Okay, I arrived just before lunch, and I walked into the lunch and I met quite a few people, saw their cards, okay, and some of them I asked which company are they from or which industry are they from. And if you are looking at it from the point of view of this retailer called Images, who are running this store called SIRS, which is a 10,000 square feet store here, okay, is there any way we can actually segment these people who have come to this, to this forum here? Okay, so, broadly, looking at the people, I could classify them into three types. Okay, one, there are pot bellies. One of them is me. Okay. Second, there are suits. There are quite a few suits here. And third, there are models. There are young guys who are dressed very colorfully and young women. Okay. And when I chatted with some of them, I realized or saw their, their cards. I saw that they are from different professions. So there are grocery retailers, there are lifestyle retailers, and there are consultants, there are technologists, okay, and there are real estate guys from different real estate, either a mall developer or a real estate company. Okay, so if you look at these three profiles of potbellies, suits, and models, and these long list of people who have come, who are grocery retailers, lifestyle retailers, consultants, technologists, and real estate guys, can some of you classify as to who will be what? Will every grocery retailer be a potbelly, for example? Or will every suit be a lifestyle retailer? Okay. So is there any way, can someone put some intelligence into it and tell me as to, if you are a retailer, how would you classify these people? Based upon one picture or the profile which you have seen and the cards which you have collected. Okay, I tried to make some assumptions. I assume that all potbellies are grocery retailers or supermarket guys. And then, I met Mr. Gopalakrishnan here, and I found that actually he doesn't seem to have a potbelly. Okay. And then I assumed that, all suits must be lifestyle guys. And then I found two of them who are actually technologists and not lifestyle. Okay. So, then I thought that, all these, suits are technologists. Then, all these colorful dressed guys with, somebody in red shirt or a purple shirt or women who are there, they must all be from lifestyle stores. Okay. And then I found that, some of them are journalists, some of them are from real estate stores. Okay. So the reason why I wanted to take this example was that, the intuitive analytics which we use to actually classify our customers, saying that, this type of customer who is buying so much of this thing must be a high net worth individual. So he is an important customer to me. Okay. Or this type of customer who buys these products, who buys these perfumes or jewelry or, artificial jewelry or something is actually a high net worth individual. Okay. These assumptions generally are proven wrong. Okay. When you look at it from data. And as retailers, we have a huge amount of data. Okay. You can actually have all types of data by looking at a bill. Which customer is buying what items and what items he is buying them together. Okay. And then if you have a loyalty program running, then you know as to how many times the same customer comes to your store. So if the customer is coming only twice in a month, is he going to some other store to buy? And what is he buying there? Okay. So these are the different data points. And then you can also see as to what would be the, what is the consumption of your typical customer. So if you are from a hypermarket and, you have a loyalty program, for example, and if you know that customers buy about 10 to 15,000 rupees from your store, is that all they consume? Because, typically, as per the, the economic surveys, it says about 48 to 50% of the total consumption of the customer actually comes from food products, okay, which includes staples as well as food. And then another 8 to 10% is from all lifestyle products. And then another 5 or 6% is from electronics. So, if you are a hypermarket and if the customer is, let us say, buying 10,000 rupees a month from you, is that all that he is buying? Or is there something else also he is buying? And where is he going to shop? Okay, so where else is he buying products from? Okay, so there are a whole lot of customers I keep checking with in Bangalore, and I find that, somebody says that I buy fruits and vegetables only from Tom's, which is a supermarket which is there at, in Coxtown, at one place in Coxtown. There are customers who say that I buy meat only from Meat Mart. And there are customers who say that I buy fruits and vegetables only from that particular shop or, or the Jayanagar market. Okay, so the data from the data which you have, can you analyze as to whether customer is consuming everything he buys from your store or from some other stores? Okay, and depending upon the type of customer, which type of products must be buying outside, and what do you do to get them back? So these are some thoughts which I had, which, for which you can actually use the data which is there with you, which is basically a bill level data. And if you have a loyalty program, the customer name along with the bill level data. So by adding both of them together, you can know, what is customer buying from your store, which items does he buy together, how many times does he come to your store, what is his total consumption during a month, and is it in line with his actual consumption. Okay, so these are all the data points which one can use, and I just wanted to put these thoughts so that you can think in this direction, and then later we can actually discuss as to how this can be used well.
Right, thanks. Thanks for that example that you took. Very interesting. But you're right, there's a lot of data that retailers do have at their hands today, but they're not able to leverage and make meaningful sense out of it. Mr. Gopal Krishnan, how is technology working for you at end stores?
As you said, I'm from the brick and mortar kind of a shop, and customers' interaction with them personally makes more important to me. Of course, the technology has come in, and we have to respect that. And there are certain areas. I deal only with food retailing. There are certain products which can be online, and your technology can help, but there are a lot of items which I have to talk to the customer and meet them and make them take those products. So the data from what we gather is the interaction we have, and they say they require these products, and we make sure that is there in the supermarket. Now with the technology changing, there are some people who call us up and ask, do you have this product? We want them delivered. So we are making such arrangements for those things. In general, the application what we use today is we gather from the checkout counter. If they are a loyal customer, we take the data from what all they're buying, and then we record them and keep them as thing to inform certain products which are in demand. We call them up and tell them that this has come, so you come and pick them up. And some of them we deliver to them. That's how we are using the technology today.
Right, but continuing with that point, Mr. Gopal Krishnan, there are two things. One is the fact that you also need technology to take care of your sourcing, exactly. That piece. The other part is when you look at scaling up, there's people touch, or the thing that you're able to reach out, somebody speak to you, and then take it. That's going to be stretched, because if you're going to have multiple stores and the same person can go to multiple stores. So how do you see that happen for you as you grow from a technology? First is the retail piece, that's the sourcing piece, and then the customer connect.
Yeah. Well, the first thing is I'm actually franchising supermarkets. The family started the Nilgiris supermarket. We sold it off, and then I started the N brand, and I started the franchising of supermarkets. The basic idea is the owner has to sit in the shop is my basic requirement, because interaction with the customer is very important.
Right.
And if that is not there, the supermarket business as such, I'm not talking about other business, but in supermarket, the customer requires to know who's they're dealing with, It's very important. So as far as the technology in that is concerned, supply, we have a software which gives us what the items coming in, what's being sold, what's left over. We have a reordering system and all that. But again, these technologies help us at certain point, because there is shoplifting, staff lifting, which don't go into the data book. Right. And for that, we have to random check, get those data up, and then find out ways to see. And it's a long process, and it takes time. And with the present trend, which is happening with so much of applications coming in, we are getting up to see that certain things are met, to see that the products are back on the shelf, which is being worked out.
Okay. Yes. Thanks. Rohit, what are your customers asking you in technology? Any specific area that you want to highlight on?
Hi. traditionally people have been having two expectations from retail software: flexibility and control. So they want to control their inventory and they want to control the sales flow and the material flow onto the shop floor. But what our customers now expect us to do, or rather where we would like to take them to, is something that is it's simple. The software should be simple, it should be scalable, and it should also be seamless. Now seamless is where leading to what you said earlier, that whether you're talking about different payment modes,
Right.
enabling different payment modes, enabling offline and online retail in the same software, or whether you're talking about managing a CRM system which is global in nature. So for example, people have our customers have stores in almost all the states, and they want to run the same loyalty program and give the same benefits in real time to the customer, shoot them real time kind of discounts, and try to do that online as well as offline. And that is where the seamlessness comes in. So for some of that, we are working on our own, and for some of that we are integrating with other best-in-class partners. Say for example WMS, we are partnering with Infor, and so other systems as well. So definitely there's a challenge for us in terms of trying to tick box all the sections of where technology is evolving, and I don't think it's really practically possible for any
Absolutely.
tech company to say, yeah, we can do everything and we can do it well. So I think the practical answer for us to do is to provide a solution that can fit in well with other solutions, not just simply you have something that does some of it and then something else which does some of it, but the two, when they talk together, it's kind of broken. So you don't want to give a broken experience to the customer.
So what I understand is you're saying that customers are looking for inventory control, they're looking at customer relationship, that is the CRM
Right.
piece. These are two things that are coming out very strongly.
Yeah, they're looking for all of it. So whatever you mentioned over there, in the previous slide, probably you can even switch
Yeah.
to that slide. So whether it's web interface, whether it's mobile payments, whether they're looking for an online CRM, whether they're looking for online and offline integration,
Right.
convergence of stock, or you talk about mobility. So trying to do certain things. So that brings us back to Reid Hoffman's quote that okay, it's not necessary to just change the software, but to transform certain parts of the pieces of the retail chain. So that's what we are trying to do, is certain aspects of the retail business we are trying to bring on the mobile, and the rest of it can work as it was working before.
Right. Sheshu, you want to share something of your experiences, your own and from Big Basket, and how technology is working for you guys?
Yeah, actually the area where we, we try to use the technology a lot is one in terms of understanding the consumer. Okay, I'll just give you a small anecdote of, about 15 years back, I was working with this company called FabMart, which was basically, we were the first online retailer in Bangalore and maybe India at that point of time. And we were actually trying to set up this grocery online. Okay, and at that time, there were basically two grocery retailers in Bangalore. One was Nilgiris, Mr. Gopal Krishnan is there, and the second was Spencer's. So we hired our merchandising person from Spencer's, and then we started using Nilgiris for benchmarking. And during that time, we were actually contemplating whether we should introduce frozen products as a part of our assortment. And I was shared a very interesting anecdote from this person who joined us to head our merchandising, who was from Spencer's. She said, actually, Mr. Chenniyappan, Mr. Gopalkrishna's father, used to actually spend almost an hour every day in Spencer's, which was their competitor, to understand what people are buying in frozen and how they are buying in frozen and what do they do with it. And I think apparently he had spent maybe about a week or 2 weeks looking at the customers, what they are buying, before he took a decision as to whether they should introduce frozen or not, and whether to introduce those freezers. Okay, and but unfortunately, all of us can't have Mr. Chenniyappan among us. So we try to actually use data to understand as to if the customer is buying these items, what else he can buy. So, for example, a customer we found about a year back that our sale of atta in terms of the number of bags of a certain size, as well as the, the volume is actually almost equivalent to as higher than rice. Intuitively, Sona Masuri rice in Bangalore should be the largest seller for any organized retailer. But we found that atta is almost selling equal to the rice. So we guessed that, a whole number of customers who are coming must be North Indians who are settled in Bangalore. So then we have introduced a whole lot of other variants, which are, let us say, Sattu atta and number of varieties of basmati rice, like Dubar and Tibar and all those varieties. And in masalas, for example, if you are selling Everest, which is Everest and Mayas and MTR, which are popular in South, okay, we also introduced MDH and we started doing promotions on MDH. So that entire initiative which we have done to introduce all products which are more often bought by North Indians, because based upon the insight that we are selling more atta than rice, actually helped us in terms of, one, improving our assortment and actually increasing the number of customers who are coming to our store. The second example which we found was that, the customers were, there were a whole lot of customers who were buying, these, the Keralite masalas and products like that. There are basically 3 Kerala brands. One is Double Horse, second one is Nirapara, and third is Melam, which anyone who is in Bangalore would know. And we found that these brands were selling out. So then we introduced products like tapioca, okay, and then we introduced this Chinese potato, or it's called Chinese potato here. Okay, so we introduced that product and we found that all of them are flying. Okay, so, when you try to get an insight from the product which you have, which is selling, and then you try to introduce all the other, then we had actually sent a team to all the Kerala stores in Bangalore to figure out which are all the items which they are selling and what we don't have, and introduced all the gaps, and we found that, we got the loyalty of those customers who have been buying a few products from us. Okay. Third one is, there are these Mangalore products which sell in Bangalore. If you know the Bangalore geography, there would be at least some 7 to 8 Mangalore stores, one in probably Indiranagar, one in Jayanagar, and places like this. Okay, so, we had again got a benchmarking done against all these Mangalore stores because we saw in our sale a few Mangalorean spices which were selling better. Okay, then we got this benchmarking done and we understood which are all the products. So there are prawn pickles and a whole lot of other items which are typically eaten by Mangaloreans. Okay, and we introduced them on our online store and we found that they are also flying. So these are the insights which one can actually get to, in terms of improving your assortment and serving the customers better. Second, in terms of the back end, I think the most important thing in back end is to decide as to how much inventory we should keep. Yeah. Okay, and that is the one which makes or breaks a retailer. If, Mr. Gopalakrishnan, I think he will agree. Okay. So in terms of deciding as to what we should buy and forecasting it more accurately, so we try to look at a number of data points. So we look at data points in terms of, one, broadly, what had been the sale in the last 1 week or last 15 days. Then we see which are those days on which that product was stocked out to arrive at what is the exact sale estimate. Then we also found a third point, because we are an online store and we are not a physical store, we found a third point where products get stocked out during the day. Okay, so if the product is getting stocked out from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock in the morning, or 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock in the morning, which is a peak period for an online store, the opportunity loss for us is much higher. And so when you do the forecast on the basis of your sale, the loss which you have to take for that period will be far higher than, if the stock item got stocked out between 1 and 4 in the afternoon. Okay, so using these types of data points to exactly estimate or forecast as to what the customer is buying or would buy, and buying and procuring the products on that basis, that is something which you can do. And, if somebody is in F&B business, you will also realize that there is another variable in fruits and vegetables, which is called dump, okay, which is basically the product which doesn't get sold at the end of the day, gets written off or dumped at the end of the day. So by seeing what is the value of the dump which you are doing in items, you can actually guess as to where is it that your estimate is going wrong and how much are you estimating wrong. So if you are able to correct your forecast on the basis of that, then next time you can buy it a little better.
Right. So, these are very interesting insights that you bring in, Sheshu. So, what is the time lag between the data availability and the time that you get this insight done? Because if you don't have tools in place, it could be 3 weeks, 6 weeks, and you could really lose an edge on getting that insight. So what is the time lag that you typically have on a certain 6-month data that you get the data and you come out with an insight, typically?
If I look at basic things like stock out and sale,
That's
it's
easy.
it's real time.
Yes.
Okay, so we get what had got sold half an hour back,
but
or 10 minutes
how
back.
do you know
If you look at, in a day, how many times this item got stocked out and by how much? And so what is the amount of opportunity which I have lost?
Correct.
That is every alternate day. So means I get day before yesterday's data.
Right. And when it comes to something which is really insightful, like Mangalore spices flying off the shelf, some parts, or
Yeah.
Kerala products, when do you get it? 3-month cycle, 6-month
that we
cycle,
get it,
45 days?
No, it's available for us all the time.
Real time.
Is real time.
So you
it's
are
based
using
upon us as to how
So
we
you're-
slice and dice and start
Absolutely.
seeing.
So you have some tools and tackles in place to slice and dice.
Yeah.
it. Okay. Do you have some committed people who are only doing this part of the whole thing?
Yeah, we have an analytics team which we have recently started.
Yeah. Okay.
Though most of the examples which I quoted before had come more from the merchandising guys than the analytics.
Absolutely. Yeah. So there is a need that you have realized that
Yeah.
you will need to have an analytics team.
Correct.
And that's what we call big data, the whole volume of data that you're massaging and trying to find out insights on.
Yeah.
So this is the reality that many companies, brick and mortar or online, are relying on analytics as a strong tool, because now you can actually harness that data and come out with some meaningful insights. There's this one book which I read on which they found patterns of a certain product moving out of Target. And there was an analyst who did this, and they predicted what would be some of the things that they could buy, So it is a pretty interesting, the book is on something on habits, which they did mention that based on the bill data that you get from a customer, you can kind of predict what were some of the certain products, personal products that were being used. So it's very interesting. Harnessing data does give you some insight into consumer buying patterns. When it comes, you want to add something? Yeah.
Yes, actually, harnessing big data is typically very difficult if you don't have it presented to you in the right form. I mean, in an easily consumable form. So I guess that is a big challenge, and it's not so much of a challenge anymore because there are good tools out there to do that. And that is something that I would advise everyone to invest in, as it makes life so much simpler to have it presented to you in the right way, so that you can drill and move sideways and horizontally and move back in time and forth in time to get to the answers to the questions that you are seeking. Otherwise, you can easily get lost if you're trying to do a report by report kind of analysis.
Right, that's a good point, because primarily static data thrown at you or raw data that you analyze is not going to work for you. You need to sort
and it's
it in a sort. Yeah.
Really very difficult to find these kind of things now.
Absolutely.
So I guess you are also using something like that, right?
Yeah, when we started, we have been using a whole lot of Excel, and so we had people who were really good at experts at Excel, and who were getting these insights. But we have recently invested in a platform, from which we can extract data, and we have tied up with a company which does it for us.
Right. Okay. Any thoughts on mobile applications, used mobile as for payments or for applications to reach out to get more sales, or another channel to your consumer? Just an open question.
Yeah, for us, actually, mobile is as important or more important than the web.
Right, because you're online only.
So our app is very powerful, and we found that actually now it's more than 50% of the customers buy from mobile, whether it is an app or it is a mobile web. So by mobile web, we call, basically customers log on to internet from the mobile and come to our site. And there are a whole lot of people who use app. So I think about 40% use app and another 15 to 20% use mobile web. So more than 50% of our customers actually, come from mobile.
Do you also have a call center which takes orders? Or?
No, we don't have a call center which takes orders. We have a call center for customer service.
Customer service, okay. So it's either mobile or online that you have.
Yeah.
Right. So Gopal Krishna, you want to say something on mobile apps or payment?
We actually have the franchisees whom we appoint. They place the order, and we have certain products which they have to pay in upfront. And those payments are made either through, your bank transfer, or sometimes they send through mobile also. But generally, in food retailing, in the brick and mortar thing, we believe cash and carry. And when we distribute our product to smaller pop and mom stores, we have a one-day credit for them. So we have a documentation made, and those people are now slowly, we are giving them an application where their bank automatically transfer the money to our account. That's being worked. It's still not ready.
Right. Your thoughts on mobile applications, if you have any?
As I said some time back, we are looking at transforming some bits of the retail value chain onto mobile. It's not that everything should be on mobile. That's not what the customer really wants. They want some parts which are, which enable them to do their work faster on the move. Say, for example, whether it be stock audit or, creating dispatches in the warehouse. Those things, if it is on the mobile, it's much easier, and that's what we are working on.
Right. Another question, which is South India Retail Summit, right? So all regions have their own nuances. I'll leave it to the people who reach out to customers. Is there any South Indian specific nuances that which comes to your notice quickly? And if you could share it with us, it would be interesting to understand.
See, the shopping is mostly started off in South India. Organized retailing started off in South India, and people were more willing to go outside for shopping, because that was an entertainment in this southern part of India where people would go outing, and shopping was an entertainment. It was an event going out with the family and do shopping. And second thing is the education level in South was definitely better, and which is now getting improved all over the country. So this was the main thing, and the courtesy of service, which is definitely much better in South than in the North. All this has definitely helped the South to be a little more better in service. That's all I could say.
Okay. In terms of South Indian nuances, I think the biggest thing is the food habits, which, even in North and West, maybe it's very similar, or maybe East also. Food habits change every few hundred kilometers. And, because of the metro cities which we have in the south, which is Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad, and Cochin, we find that actually, within these cities, there are a diverse, number of customers who retain their original food habits and who actually, patronize those stores or those places which actually support those food habits. For example, there is this concept of filter coffee, okay, which is pure filter coffee in Bangalore, where the customers go to the particular store which do the grinding in front of them, and actually they buy the filter coffee from there. I remember even Coffee Day started with those. It was started off like that, where they had these filter coffee kiosks. Okay, maybe about 100 of them in Bangalore, where people used to go and buy Coffee Day. And there are a number of local brands, okay, which are all, I wouldn't say local, they're all, popular brands, or Kumbakonam coffee and things like that, where, people go there in front of the shop and then they buy their filter coffee powder and get it home and use that. So we had used this, this thought process to actually launch our own filter coffee online, where on the basis of order, we roast it, grind it, and deliver it to the customer. Okay, so it's still, not as fresh as the filter coffee which is ground in front of you, but it's the next best you can get. So if you don't want to go to that store, because those stores have come down now. Okay, previously there used to be more than 100 stores in Bangalore, whereas now maybe there are 20, 30 stores. So those stores have reduced in number, and so if you don't want to really go searching for your favorite filter coffee store, then you can actually buy online, and you get the next best, which is maybe within 24 hours, we are delivering this roast and ground filter coffee. Okay, so, then the second, for example, there is this AAB, which is Adiyar Ananda Bhavan, and I have a whole lot of savories, and I find a number of Tamilians who live in Bangalore, they go to AAB to buy those, murku and all the savories. Okay, so there are a number of food based savories like this. Okay, and third thing is the Iyengar bakery. Okay, it's I think again one tradition of Bangalore. Okay, where people want to go and buy the bakery and bread products only from the Iyengar. Okay, is irrespective of the price and quality, but they got used to the taste and they would keep buying from there.
Right.
Okay, so this is some of the insights, which are I think maybe peculiar to South.
India.
Okay, so what we had done is basically we are now setting up what we call a specialty store where we are tying up with each of them instead of, see, we can't introduce our own brand in every product. So what we are doing is we are tying up with bakeries, we are tying up with, AAB, okay, and each of them to actually, we pick up the products from there and deliver within 1 hour to the customers.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are setting up a separate vertical called specialty stores vertical, which will be doing this.
Right. Any other thoughts, final thoughts before I continue with the presentation? So, Rohit, you have any thoughts? Fine. Then let me just continue and just give the audience a quick look at what Infor has in this space. So as one of the panelists said, no one company can actually straddle this whole piece and say, we are good in all these components. So even in Infor, we don't really have all the components covered, but we are very strong in some components. One of it is Infor Mingle. We call this as social business. Would you believe that this is the screen of ERP? You find alerts, you find escalations, you see some escalations, you see some posts, you see the technology that gives you the graphical part or the BI part, the business intelligence, and all of this is configurable. Per role, you can choose to have your own screens for which allow you to go into the application. If you click on some of this, it drills you down into the application. At the topmost level, you will find those red and blue, and the others are the application. If I click on this, it takes me into the application. The application at the top right end has business intelligence relevant to the role and the screen. So this is business intelligence at its best. If you are a procurement manager and you look at a business intelligence there, the red and green bar that you see actually tells you what is your budget and what have you consumed. So this is the kind of screens across all Infor applications that we are delivering. We call this social for business. Nobody was trained on Facebook. Nobody was trained on Twitter, but information came to them. This is very similar to that for business. When you see it is agnostic of devices, it can run off your mobile devices, it can run off your PC, it's browser-based, it is H5 compliant. These are the kind of facilities we are delivering to our customers. You buy the iPhone, iWatch, we give you the tool to use it, right? This is business intelligence, Infor Mingle on this. And in retail, forget about the wow factor, but in retail, it's genuinely, some of these alerts are required. And you can get it if you configure it. And we are available to put it even on iWatch if required. Second piece of the component that I just really want to stress on is the Infor Iron, which is the Intelligent Open Network. This is a piece of software which is like business process management. It allows you to do workflow across applications. Retail is a maze of applications. Here is a workflow that will sit across applications. Here is a workflow which will trigger alerts based on events. So some material comes into your stores. You need to know that and alert someone who is dispatching it across to all your retail stores. Some material come into your hub warehouse and you need to dispatch it to your stores. You will have events coming to you. It allows you to connect with multiple applications, minimum XML-based compliance. It does complete monitoring of all of that using IronDesk. Here is a small example of that. Here is a workflow, graphical workflow gone to approvals across applications. And as and when the application gets approval, it moves and it goes to completion. So there is a complete visual workflow monitoring that is part of the application. No coding done, it's just drag and drop. For big data, we have something called SkyVault. SkyVault is IBM supported cloud-based analytic tool that we have. Using Iron, you can integrate it to any ERP and you can push out data to any other application you require. For Dynamic Science Labs, we have a unique set of people who are analysts, as you know, Sheshu mentioned that they have analysts who actually are struggling with problems like revenue optimization, margin price optimization, inventory optimization. People, you have a great retail store, but you don't have the right people with the right skills to explain the product to your consumers, you've lost business. In the shift that you don't have, you've lost business. Some of the challenges, pricing challenges, these are people, data scientists who work with your data. It's not a product, it's data scientists who work with your data and get you solutions for these problems that are there. CRM, lead scoring, who's going to most likely buy, when is the next purchase likely, churn prediction. These are the kind of business challenges our data scientists work with. Of course, this is the most mature piece of our retail part, the supply chain execution. Companies like Future Supply Chain and many others are already deployed. This is for 8-9 years. Again, available on mobile platforms. This is a quick look at the screen. Again, at the top right, you have the in-context BI, the BI that is relevant to the role at the screen. This is some more of the screens, some business intelligence tools that you have within the application. This was what our device, handheld device looked like in the past, but this is how it looks today. There's a lot more investment going into user interface. We have a company within a company called Hook and Loop. This is our latest acquisition as late as October 2015. We have global visibility done using a company called GT Nexus. Consumers, from customer to supplier, cloud-based global visibility tool, which is available from Infor to its customers. And they are also very relevant to our retail industry in India, which is growing and galloping away. The last but not the least, we just have announced a partnership with Whole Foods to completely consultatively work through all their retail solutions. Whole Foods is a very large grocery chain in the US, and we are their partner of first choice. We'll be coming out with great products as we go forward in the retail space. So we are in the retail space, been there for a long time. Thank you for your attention, and I would open the floor for questions to the panelists.
It's just a question on Infor.
Can you
Hi,
get, yeah.
I'm here. Is it just a solution? Is it a solution working on the data already available through social media and the billing details, or is it also putting in solutions to gather new data?
It does both. It's as simple as a transaction system, and it also can start looking at what's coming on social media, making it available for further analysis within the organization.
Huh?
Right.
Oh, fine. Okay.
For your time and patience to explain. Thank you. Thank you.